we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means, on infiltration instead of invasion, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. There is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it.
Well, all right, welcome to episode 75 of the Abuse Hour. It is I, your host, Coffee Long, roaming the countryside, unsupervised, unmedicated, and an unchecked threat to society. So usually, where you might be riding with me to the airport, today you get to ride with me from the airport. I just finished a trip, and it was, I won't say bad or all bad. It was, there was a lot of typical weirdness, but it was also a little bit on the unexpected side. So if you saw in the chat at all, as it happens, I was down in the South, in deep South, and dude, I have seen a lot of stuff, man, on airplanes. I've seen a lot of weirdness. I've seen a lot of odd behavior. I've never once seen where you get to a place and it always takes forever to get off the plane, man. That's just like part of the deal. But I've never seen it where people actually forget where they put their stuff. Like they're bobbling around like, oh, where the hell did I put my stuff? Is it up there? Is it back there? Oh, is that my bag? I don't know. It's a mystery. And I thought, man, what in the world is wrong with you people? You act like you've never been on an airplane before. And then I had to consider maybe these people haven't been on an airplane before, because this place was rural, if you like. And, as it happened, probably a pretty good chance these people had not been on an airplane before. But I'll tell you something, man, whatever you want to say about the South, these were actually pretty nice people, man. These were some nice people. It was like going back in time. I went to a restaurant and I was hanging out in there, and I actually found myself enjoying talking to the waitress, which for me is, I don't usually enjoy much talking to anybody except you fine folks, of course. But man, typically the average waitress, like just gutting it out through this food serving thing until my NASA gig kicks in. Right? I want to choke the life out of like nearly every single one of them that I ever meet. But I went in here. I had a lovely time, had a fine meal. Next day I got out of bed, getting ready to go to the airport, and I go and get a coffee. And a lot of places, if you go to a coffee shop, there's going to be some blue hair in there, there's going to be some pink hair in there, there's going to be tranny flags, gay flags, the whole deal, and you're going to have to gut it out and probably get, handed a flyer for some kind of a thing or another. Hey, come to my poetry slam later. I don't want to go to any of that, all right? I just want coffee. That's all I'm in it for. But this place, again, nice people. Good morning. How you doing? Doing pretty well now. Thanks. And thanks for the coffee. So a really good time. It makes you think, but it also kind of gives you hope, in a sort of a way that, hey, maybe things aren't so completely dicked and maybe things will sort of sort out here. So today, thought we could get a quick recap of some of the odds and ends, some of the goings on, and then maybe a little bit of doom posting. I had some thoughts on the Doomsday Mobile, the eternal hunt for the perfect Doomsday Mobile, and I'll give you some of my recent findings, if you like. And then lastly, what else, man? There was a couple of suggestions in the chat that I enjoyed. The general immaturity of the modern woman. So for the ladies listening, obviously this isn't so much for you, but you could probably get on board with some of what I'm going to say, because, I think probably women in our thing especially, they have to endure this as much as anybody. And they probably get a lot of talk about, hey, why don't you just do this? Hey, why don't you do this? Hey, why do you accept this, and that? But anyway, yeah, maybe we'll get a little rant and rave on for that. But before we get to any of that, I want to give a shout out to the fine and decent Mrs. Schwartz. Mrs. Lucky Schwartz, this episode is for you. In this episode, we're going to take a little more of a family-friendly approach. I mean, topics aside, right? Doom posting is not for kids. But I'm going to do my level best to do this whole episode with zero profanity, because I unlike the rough and uncouth hooligans with which we so infrequently and unfortunately interact, do not have to unpack my soul with four-letter verbiage. I instead can use a more refined lexicon to express myself, and so I hope that this episode meets your high expectations. Mrs. Lucky Schwartz, this one's for you. Right. So anyway, what were we talking about? So yeah, the recent goings on, man. There's a lot of weirdness out there. There's a lot of ins and outs, a lot of what have you. Some of the stuff, dude, I reference Europe a lot because I really think that Europe is kind of like, it's like they're test firing a lot of ideas that they want to try to wheel out over here to separate you, quite honestly, to separate you from that pesky First and Second Amendment situation. Because I really do think that in the pursuit of global power, that this whole America thing is really, how can I say, like the last fish to fry, like the last monkey in the wrench, if you like. Like the fact that you can say whatever you want so long as you're not, bunny ears yelling fire in a crowded theater, which, if there actually is fire in a crowded theater, maybe that's the best time to speak up. But the fact that you could say what you want, and if it gets too hectic out there, that you can dual wield at your leisure, I think that's, this place is really a place unlike any other in that sense. The only real downside is that most Americans are just so indecently stupid that they get handed this song and dance about my greatest ally and God's chosen people, and they just go with it. Yeah, looking quick at the Europe situation, Russia obviously is winning, as predicted, as anyone with a brain between their ears could have told you. That's going over well, but our trusty government has elected to send 61 billion, 61, not 60 or 59, 61 billion. Like, what could I do with that, man? Dude, imagine the stickers we could come up with for that kind of cheese. But they're going to send 61 billion of your hard-earned dollars over there to that sawed-off comedian in the t-shirt so he can go shopping in Paris a little bit more. And I just, like, what is $60 billion going to do that $200 billion could not do, all right? I think they're talking more about sending some kind of weapon, some kind of something, but they're also talking about confiscating some Russian financial holdings. And I thought I had heard that they were talking about these are holdings of the Russian government. I don't know, for all I know, it could be like personal holdings of someone who happens to be Russian. So we're just going to take that from you. But I think it's really short-sighted. Well, one, it's really short-sighted if you don't mean to make this circus collapse, because the message this sends to the rest of the world is, hey, don't put any of your money in America. If they get a burr in their saddle, they're just going to take your stuff and say it's theirs. And then what are you going to do? So I don't know that that's really the smartest thing, unless you're trying to get people to break ties with you, trying to get other countries to say, like, yeah, you know what, I think I'm gonna not come to your party. I got some stuff I got to do. I got to stay home and wash my hair. So I'm just going to kind of see what goes on, and I'll call you later. I'll talk to you next weekend. So we'll see what shakes loose on that. It doesn't look favorable, I'm pretty sure of that. Apart from that, though, the shenanigans continue where Ukraine is concerned, with more mobilization, more manpower shortages, really. Like, you want to fight a war and you got all the money from all over the world. You probably got plenty of weapons still, but you don't have anybody to go out there. So the idea that you're going to pull this off is ludicrous at best. I did see one post in the chat where it was saying something about, like, France following through on wanting to send people to Ukraine. I have no doubt that they probably got people already over there in an advisor capacity, and maybe some special operations people going out. I don't know, I'd say going out onesie twosie trying to help out or something. But I mean, as badly as Ukraine is doing, I don't know how that's really a good idea. So, how that plays out, I haven't seen any follow-up to that. I couldn't find any, like, proper news stories anywhere. I'm like, yeah, this is actually happening. So maybe something will shake loose on that. Maybe the stuff that got put out was, like, just kind of a test fire. Like, we're just going to see what people say. Like, yay, go France. Yeah, good job, buddy. And then if not, it may be, we were just kidding. We were just floating the idea. We didn't really do that. We'll have to see how that plays out, though. I wouldn't put it past him, man. It wouldn't surprise me at all. With the U.S. elections coming up, though, it's a little bit dodgy. The idea of spinning up a new conflict or getting deeper into a conflict, to me, is not a very good idea, with elections coming up. And it's strange enough that we're staring down the barrel of May right now, and you don't really hear anything about elections. Like, I haven't heard too much, I haven't seen too much. Not too much talk about polling or who's ahead or debates or any of that stuff. So I don't know, man. I think it would probably be real convenient if there was a way to just say, yeah, you know what, there's just too much going on this year, bro, this cycle, bro. I think we're just going to follow Ukraine's example and probably not have elections. Would you guys be cool with that? Like, what do you think? The guy's doing a good job, right? He's okay, right? Yeah, that's a great idea. But, we'll see what shakes loose. Moving over to Israel. Dude, the Israel situation, laughable, man. I can't do a thing with them. They tried this, they've tried this escalation thing with Iran. Like, they really tried, dude. They hit that embassy annex. And, I've seen a few posts. There's like a few Twitter posts by a lot of these Hebrews. And they're running on about, like, see, we didn't hit the actual embassy. It was a building next door. It was a building next door. The fact is, dude, if it's embassy property, if it's diplomatic property, if it's a diplomatic building, you've basically launched on that country. And that whole Vienna Agreement, Vienna Accord, Vienna Convention, whatever the hell it is, the Vienna thing, the idea there is that, man, you just don't do it. However bad it gets, whatever you do, it's just one of those things. And Israel is just like, yeah, we do whatever the hell we want, man. We do what we want. We want to blow up your embassy. We're going to blow up your embassy. We want to burn down non-combatants. We're going to do that too. So I guess they're talking. I don't know that they've ventured into Rafah full scale yet, or if they're just still talking about it. But I have seen that they have continued burning down non-combatants. So if and when the UN ever decides to do anything or put any kind of sanctions on these clowns, we shall see. But what did happen was somebody got these characters real good, man. If you haven't seen it, it's out there. Somebody had it up in the chat as well. It's real nice. Maybe I put it in the chat. I can't remember. Anyway, somebody put a Palestinian flag, and I don't know where it is. I don't know exactly what happened, but there's a Palestinian flag out here in this field, and here comes Shlomo. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to get to the bottom of this. I'm taking that. These people, who do they think they are? And goes walking out there and, like, kicks at it, knocking it over, and it was booby-trapped. And this guy just kaboom. And he was there, and then he wasn't there. He's not there anymore. I thought that was fantastic, man. That's like one of the first things that you ever learn. Like, as a point guy, like, you want to move through a space like you're levitating, man, like you're a ghost, like you're not even there. Like, don't touch anything. Be very careful on what you step on. Don't disturb anything. Don't move anything. And for crying out loud, don't pick anything up. Kids' toys, shiny things, neato stuff to bring home to mama. Don't touch nothing. And this guy goes out there and, looking at it, it's just out there. It's just this flag in the middle of this field. Like, who could resist? It's like just a button just sitting there. Like, I'll show you. It goes out there and just boom, gone. See you later. Unbelievable. Really fantastic. But, closer to home, man, like the Trump shenanigans continue, and that Joker with this whole I'll have it solved and I'll have it clear in half a year type thing. Dude, I have tuned up, I've given up on tuning up lawbirds and boomers. Like, this guy is Tel Aviv's man. He's not your man. Dude, what did he ever do for you? Nothing, and they will not hear it. And again, for as nice as the people were, where I was just coming from, man, these people love them some Trump. And I'm like, what is going on? What's one thing the guy has done for you? And the Finkelstein thing is 1,000% true. Like, they love him because he's not Joe Biden. I'm not Joe Biden either. Why don't you vote for me? I guess because I'm not running, right? But, vote coffee. Check coffee. Who wants coffee? You do, right? I think that's a good slogan. Who wants coffee? You want it. Go ahead. Put your hands out. Anyway. So yeah, it is what it is. The shenanigans continue, and they're kind of floating it. I think they're like they're baiting. It's almost like they're baiting you. Like, hey, maybe he won't be able to run, dude. Maybe we'll pass this thing. Maybe he'll be declared an insurrectionist, and he can't be president even if he wins. What about that, bro? What would you do then? Oh man, how crazy would that be? What would you do, huh? Oh, you better decide, bro. Oh man, how lucky would you be if you got him in here? I don't know. I think they got the guy by the stones. I think he probably will get in there, and I think it'll just be more of the same. Or like maybe the economy will improve here, but it'll be like, yeah, see, being an Israeli vassal state, it's not so bad, right? Look, cheap gas. Isn't that great? In any case, moving along though, I guess the thing I wanted to hit on one of the two things I wanted to hit on. One was the pursuit of the eternal pursuit of the ideal Doomsday Mobile. And I kind of got on this Doomsday Mobile thing where I had been looking at the Instagram a while back. And by the way, I'm back on Instagram for any of you good goys in the chat, man. I've hit up a few of you. I'm on a completely different look. So I'm more low vis. I'm just a cat in a necktie. That's it. That's all. But I'm more low vis. I'm not bringing anything to the table. So I'll try to hit yous up. But I was looking at the Instagram, and they got this Toyotas of War situation. And the idea on this channel is it's got all these Toyotas from all over the world. And it's all the deals with like Afghanistan, Iraq, and all over Africa. And the deal with like machine guns and rocket launchers and all this stuff mounted in the back of them. So cool. Just so cool. And I'd been looking at that for a while. And then at the time I was there, I drove these things all over the world, dude. I drove them in Asia. I drove them in the Stan. I drove them in Iraq. They're so cool, dude. But they're just super, super simple. And they're all diesel. And I remember thinking at the time, dude, I don't remember the last time I put gas in this thing. You just drive it everywhere. And they're just these little rinky-dink trucks, the Hilux, man. Just a little basic Hilux pickup. And you just cruise this thing around, and it's not got a ton of ass to it. It doesn't haul ass, but it's just a light little truck, man. And it goes fast enough because you're not, it's not like you're pulling a trailer with this thing. You're not pulling a mobile home with it. But it's just a sweet little diesel truck, runs forever. It's the deal. You basically drive these things off a cliff. In fact, I think there's a couple different videos with people getting a hold of these things and trying to destroy them. And, I mean, you have to literally drive this thing off a cliff, and then it will stop working. And even then sometimes, they drop giant bricks on it, drive it over, ba-boom, 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 and, still runs, dude, still good. So these things are just the heat, and it's you want to get one, right? But there's some kind of racket, and I don't completely understand what it is or why it is. But trying to get a diesel, trying to get any diesel, but especially trying to get one of these little Toyota trucks, one of these little Toyota diesel truck situations in the States is right up there next to impossible. It is extremely difficult to get. Now, there are situations, so I looked into this a lot. So there are situations where you can get one, but here's the deal. For them to be legally imported into the States, these are, most of them are what they call JDM, Japanese Domestic Motors. And it has to be at least 25 years old. That's the deal. That's like their, I don't know, what do you call it, grandfather clause. So there's a bunch of different sites where you can get a JDM vehicle. And some of them are these Hilux trucks. And there's also some little niche vehicles. I can't remember the name of them, maybe the Corona or the Skyline, I guess is one. So for autists who really enjoy that kind of thing, they'll go after these and they'll, rework them, rebuild them completely. And they're all about that kind of thing. That's their hobby, and that's fantastic. But if you're just a dude looking for a sweet Doomsday Mobile, you try to get one of these Hilux trucks, and it is damn near impossible. It is extremely hard to get one of these. But you look at these different sites, and you can't really get one with less than 150,000 miles on it. And for a lot of these diesel engines, these little diesel engines, if they're taken care of, that's not really that much. Like, this thing is gonna last just fine, and if you take care of it, maybe you get it rebuilt, and that's just fine. That engine is gonna run sweet for you just the same. The trouble, though, is that it's the whole rest of the car. Like, what's happening with the suspension, like what's happening with literally everything else, like all of the lines, all of the wiring, all this stuff. Like, that stuff is 25 years old too. And that stuff doesn't care if it's on a diesel or a gas engine. It's 25 years old. So a lot of this stuff is gonna be rickety. It might take some work on it. So I said, dude, I'd really like to pick one of these up. That would be really nice. And I've been looking at these things for like years, dude. I like these kind of things. I looked at it for years trying to do it. I took another look at it again recently just for kicks. And I thought to myself, because I looked up, like, are there actual still, like small diesel trucks? Is that like a normal thing in the rest of the world? And apparently, like, hell yes. Like a small diesel vehicle, like a normal sized diesel vehicle, this is exactly a normal thing in the whole rest of the world. So like, you look at like UK, or you look at Japan or Singapore or anywhere, just a small diesel vehicle like the car you're driving now, except diesel, right? And it's going to run for the rest of your natural life. Yeah, you can go and buy that. It's brand new. You can go and get it. Not a big deal. But you can't have one. In the States, you can't have it. Why exactly? I don't know, dude. I'm sure there's some kind of a racket with like, we need these idiots to buy more gas. I mean, I'll go real conspiracy minded with that and just say that like, they want you. Well, I'll get to exactly why here forthwith, but let me finish this part of the story. So they've got these other services. There's different like law services, like import services, where they'll do the import work for you. They'll import the vehicle, even if you want to pay whatever the tax is or whatever the hell it is on it. If you wanted to import a new one, it appears to be such an incredible pain in the ass, such a monstrous pain in the ass. I mean, it would almost be better to like buy the parts and just rebuild it. So I don't know exactly, man. But apparently the deal on this is that like, there are conditions under which you can import a vehicle like this that's under 25 years old. But the conditions are that, one, you could be active duty military. So if you're a military dude, this could be a racket for you. And I don't know. And I'm not saying do anything illegal, but what I will say is that a lot of stuff that you get the nod on in the military, like I knew one dude that, and what a douche was this guy. Like, this guy did what's called a PEP billet, like a foreign exchange billet, to France. And this guy imported a Citroen, like that small gay car that's like, you'd see it, dude. It was like a 70s or 80s Citroen, like extremely French looking. Look it up. You'll recognize it immediately. So this clown imported a Citroen, and I was like, how did you get this here? And he's like, well, like, it's because I'm a military dude, like I was overseas and I can import this. That's cool, right? I'm like, it's not that cool. It would be cool if your car was cool, but this is not. So neither is this whole situation. This is a lot of man-on-man action is what this is. Anyways, so you can do this if you're in the military, and like a lot of things in the military, I'll tell you this, like while you're in, you can, so say like I grew up in California, right? So when I'm in, the whole time I was in, not the whole time, a good portion till I figured this out, but a lot of time while I was in, I'm still paying California state income tax, even though I could be stationed wherever. If you're stationed in Texas, you're stationed in New York, you're stationed in Florida, wherever you're stationed, you're still going to be paying tax based on what your home of record is. And mine at the time was California. What I found out, though, was that you could change, in the military, you could change your home of record, your state of residency. And the only criteria was that you had ever been to that state, which you cannot prove. Like, you can't prove I ever, visited Nevada. Like, I went to Vegas. Did you really? Yes. Right? So that you've ever been to that place, and that when you leave the military, you intend to go back. So basically you've got, I have been there, and here's what I intend to do in the future. And like, how can you prove that? How can you prove intent? I intended to on the day that I came and filled out this form. Easy. And the form, it was like, nobody will tell you about this stuff either. Like, you have to go and hunt it down and ask, right? But I finally find out about it, and it's like a one-page deal. It's like a half a page. Here's my home record now. Here's my name, social. Here's where I'm a resident of. Here's where I plan to be when I move. Okay, we'll change it. Good to go. You're like, that's it? I don't have to pay state income tax no more? Nope, you're good. Like, cool. Why does nobody tell you this, right? But there's a lot of things like this in the military, like these little loopholes. You got to actually know somebody or ask somebody or beat the bushes and find it, because the people who are supposed to help you, like your career counselors and your senior enlisted people that are supposed to be looking out for you, they're busy looking out for themselves, and they're not looking out for you, and all this stuff falls by the wayside. Anyway, another one then is a lot of this stuff that you could buy overseas and bring back. So there was like, while I was overseas, there was this deal where like you could buy all of this stuff. Like you could buy vehicles. There would be like at bases, you see this. I know you see this a lot. I saw it the entire time I was in. If you're overseas, there'll be on bases, there'll be the little like Ford outlet or the Dodge outlet or the whatever the hell outlet, man. A guy selling Persian rugs outlet. And you can bring this stuff back to the States. It'll be like duty free or tax free. You buy this stuff there, and now their only criteria is that you're buying it for yourself, right? You're not buying this so you could go home and sell it. And you're like, no, it's for me. If you want, if you buy this brand new truck and you want to come back to the States and sell it, there's absolutely no way that anyone can stop you. Because at the time that I bought it, I intended to keep it for myself, but I got back here, I realized I couldn't afford it, or I decided I wanted to move to a bigger place and I couldn't afford it, or I drove it and I just decided I didn't like it, and so my intentions changed. I wasn't dishonest when I made this purchase. My intentions just changed. Can anybody prove that? No. So you kind of can do what you want. Like they're asking you, like, just don't do this. But dudes do it nonstop. I knew that, dude, and it was like a senior officer. And this guy was buying Persian rugs. This piece of work, this guy, he was a very senior officer. But again, like this was a very small community. So, I knew this guy and a lot of us kind of knew what he was up to. But he would come out like at the end of every other month. And I've talked about this before, but he would come out at the end of every other month. So he'd come out to see how the boys are doing. And he'd get out there, say like the 27th, 28th. He comes out, sees you. Hey, how's everything going? All right, cool, man. Yeah, you need some stuff? Yeah, bro, I'll get back there and see what I can get for you. I'm here. I'm your advocate, bro. I'm your advocate back at the flagpole. Of course you are. Right, so then he goes out, he buys some rugs. Maybe he buys a car, whatever. Now he gets back on a plane on like the 1st or the 2nd, and he flies home. So the good deal for him is that both months that he was there, like he was in country, in a combat zone, both of these months. So those months are tax-free for him. Like you were only over here like, 3, 4, 5 days, but it's all tax-free for you, both of those months. Plus, you go over here and you buy a gaggle of Persian rugs, you buy yourself a brand new vehicle. Now you can go home and in the next month or so, you take possession of this vehicle, you get all your rugs delivered, you go sell this stuff off. You can go sell this stuff. You could sell it at exactly or even less what people are selling it for back in the States, because you're going to still make money on it. You didn't have to pay any of the import duty. You didn't have to pay any of the taxes. You just take the stuff and go, man. So you're going to make a nice piece of money. So this guy was doing this stuff nonstop, and it was, it's like, why didn't you do it then? It's like, I didn't do it because, I'm a broke enlisted guy rubbing nickels together, trying to make a quarter. But, moreover, a lot of us didn't like it because this is the same guy who would come and lean on you over some ticky-tack rule over like, hey, go and get a shave, jerk. And you're like, come on, man. Yeah, I know you're at war, but you want to look good. You want to be a good-looking corpse if you get smoked, so go get a shave. So this kind of thing, this guy will come and lean on you, but when it's his turn to follow the rules, now it's, it's this sort of thing. But if you are in, this could be a smart move for you that like, hey man, go someplace, especially if you're like in Europe or something, go get yourself a brand new Hilux truck. Get 2 Hilux trucks. I don't know. Get one for you. Get one for your wife. I don't know. Or get one and import it tomorrow. And before you leave, get another and get it back here. But man, if you get one of those, you could come back here and sell. I mean, a Hilux truck, like a brand new, like a Toyota Hilux truck or an Isuzu or any of this kind of thing with under like 40,000 miles, dude, you will get 50K out of that thing if you get a dime. That would be a real sweet move, or just to keep it for your own. I mean, that's a piece of work. That's a fine piece of work. Anyway, the deal on these is that they're essentially going to run forever, which is what you want, for your, back to what we were getting at here, the Doomsday Mobile situation. And so what I'm talking about when I'm talking about Doomsday Mobile is like, because I don't know if you remember, like it was a couple of years ago now, but there was a time like on the East Coast where a whole bunch of pipeline got shut down. We're like, oh, gas shortages. And like they can kind of just decide this, like what if there really is a gas shortage? What if somebody just decides there's a gas shortage? What if the states start to balkanize and somebody wants to jerk somebody's chain and like, hey, guess what? The gas might get shut off. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, might get shut off where you are if you guys don't play ball. And now, do we play ball or not? No, we're not playing ball. And now guess what? Like, there's no gas for you. So that and the reliability factor was something that made me look really hard at the gas situation. At like, do I want a diesel or do I want a gas vehicle? I really, really like the idea of the diesel for a couple reasons. I had to read up on this because I ain't no automotive genius neither. But I had to read up on this, man. And apparently the way that this works is like with a gas engine, the way that the combustion is created is through use of the spark plug, right? So the spark plug fires up this spark, an amount of gas gets ignited, a little explosion occurs, and it pushes that piston. A diesel engine works differently, and apparently, from what I'm reading, a diesel engine has actually fewer moving parts, but it creates this combustion through pressure. So the body of the engine itself is actually constructed with much heavier, like out of much thicker components, because it creates this through pressure. It does the job through pressure that a gas engine does through the spark in the spark plug. But what you get then is that this engine, because of the way it functions, because of the way it's built, it's going to last a whole lot longer than would a gas engine. So you're going to get a lot more mileage out of it. You're going to have a lot fewer problems. What I do here is that if there is a problem, it's going to be more expensive to fix, but the likelihood of having problems, if you keep the thing up to snuff, it's much, much lower. So you're much less likely to have an issue with this engine, which plays nice, if you're going to look for the Doomsday getaway car type thing. So for that reason, that's one reason that I really like the idea of the diesel engine. The other is that unlike the rest of the world, the U.S. is mostly gas engines. So the rest of the world, I guess, is kind of split between gas and diesel, and that's every size car. So like your regular Joe car, the car you have at your house, it's like 50-50. Like it could be diesel, it could be gas. Like it's kind of divvied up throughout the world, and it's just kind of, what do you want here? I guess like a gas engine has a little more get up and go usually. The turbo diesel, I had a turbo diesel, a small German car for a little while, and that thing would move out, dude. So any of that, it's slow to move. Like, not this thing, dude. This thing would move out. But, throughout the rest of the world, it's pretty much either or. But in the States, though, it's mostly gas. Like, you have a hard time finding a diesel vehicle. Sometimes it's kind of hard to find diesel fuel. But that in a doomsday situation, like whether that's, things get hectic or there's some chain jerking or, the grid down scenario is doomsday, bro. It's ThunderDome. We're got to go. That kind of a thing, it really plays in your favor for a couple of reasons. For one, when there's a gas shortage, you might have recalled, if you've seen any of these, that you're going to see lines, man. Lines at my pump, where people are lining up and filling up and people are running out. But what they're not running out of anywhere they sell it is usually diesel. And if you get a chance to stock up, what's really sweet about diesel is I had to go in depth on this. If you want to stock up on fuel, right, So if you stock up on gas will go bad within 3 to 6 months. Like your average gas, you buy it, you put it in a can, it's going to go bad. It's going to go wrong within 3 to 6 months. There's some stuff called stable or some kind of thing, gas stabilizer, basically, fuel stabilizer. You put this in here and they're talking about 6 months to a year. Probably that's going to be more than enough to get you wherever you need to go or do whatever you've got to do. But who knows, man, because if we err on the safe side and say 6 months, okay, so you put this stuff in here and now it's going to get you to 6 months. Okay, is that enough? I don't know. Who knows, dude? I mean, I'm kind of going off of the 1 year model like I read about from that Bosnian dude. And I think I posted that article in the chat. If you haven't seen it, maybe scroll back through. Some guy talking about like the Bosnia deal where he was without power, without everything, like bad off for a year straight. The guy talked it through. Like, here's what we saw, here's what we did, here's what I wish I had, here's what I had that worked out nice, this kind of thing. So if you're looking at like a year's worth of gas, or just having gas for a year and you're being really, really skimpy with it, probably just the gas that you get and save is not going to make the cut, dude. So when I look at diesel then, I look at diesel and people are talking about, like, you read this stuff and like all the science nerds are like, look, it's a biological product. It's going to naturally break down. It's, you can again look at like 6 months to a year. If you've got this stabilizer in there, maybe a year to 2 years. And then there's the real life people that get in there and they're like, hey, I don't care what you scientists say. I've sucked diesel out of farm equipment that's been sitting there for 10 years and it works just fine. I was like, really? And they're like, yeah, dude, it works like a champ. The stuff will fire right up. I was like, wow, that's kind of cool. So apparently diesel is, I guess, a way dirtier fuel, dirty bunny ears. I don't know. This is what I read. But apparently like the tolerance for what this compression engine is going to get to fire up is a much, much lower tolerance. Like, it'll make this shit work. Oh, see, sorry, Mrs. Lucky Schwartz. I went and done it. So with that in mind, then that gives you the opportunity that, like, if you want to stock up, like what I've already kind of got lined up is got some cans and you just get some tape. And I do the same thing with food. Just like you get some tape and now you put a little out there, like save a little bit and just mark like the month and year you got it. So now when you go by and you look, like, I should probably use that pretty soon. Just like dump that one in the car. Or if it's food, like just get that oatmeal out of the thing and like, let's eat this, dude, and I'll get some more and replace that one. Like get it before it goes wrong. But the other cool thing is that because there are so few diesel vehicles in the States, if you're cruising and you're like, oh man, like it's been Doomsday, it's been Thunderdome for, 3 months, 6 months, 10 months, all these regular Joes with a gas car, like there's not a way that any of this works, dude. If you go by and you try to suck gas out of any of these, even if there's some in there, it's going to have gone wrong by now. So that's not any good. But if you go by and there's like equipment or semi-trucks, there's just like tractors out there in a field someplace, you get out there with your little hand pump and like, that stuff's still going to be good. So you're going to have, almost an endless supply. If you're like a guy with a diesel vehicle, you're going to be in really good shape. You're going to be good to go. Which brings us to the next question of like, you're going to be good to go. So where are you going to go? Without dipping too much into like an entire bug out plan, it does raise the question of like, what kind of places am I going to be driving to? Because I was kind of back and forth on like my thinking is like, do I want a big vehicle that I could like drive over / through protests, right? Because I'm not getting snatched out of my car for anybody. I'm not getting, what was that guy's name? Like, Reginald Denny. Oh, there's a throwback, dude. That was the dude in the LA riots. I think after the Rodney King thing, when all those peaceful, fun-loving future doctors and engineers started just destroying places. And this truck driver, Reginald Denny, got pulled out of his semi-truck and beaten with a cinder block, to show how unfairly, these poor persons of color had it in the world. They beat this guy about the head, neck, and shoulders. Just this working stiff, trying to drive some stuff from here to there, So lesson learned there, keep your doors locked. But 2, don't slow down for protests, right? And I think there's a lot of laws in a lot of places now, which sort of raises an interesting question. If a certain Mr. Fields could get another look at his situation. Like, maybe sometimes when somebody points a rifle at you and you got to take off through the middle of a riot, it's not entirely your fault if an obese woman has a heart attack under your front bumper. At least I don't think so. I think the guy should get a medal and a free lunch and not 400 years, but I digress. So the other option there, though, between the drive-through protest situation is more like the getaway car version. So if I was looking at a getaway car and I was looking at like smaller diesel getaway car, some of the stuff I looked at was like, you can get them. I don't know how hard they are to maintain or how hard they would be to like get ironed out. But I was looking at like the Volkswagen Golf, which unfortunately, I read through some posts by a lot of like people in the Balkans, and I guess the universal sentiment is that, oh yeah, the Volkswagen Golf, the preferred automobile of homosexuals and pedophiles. I'm like, what? Hey, that's not cool at all. But just the same, I will say that it is small, it is diesel, and it probably goes fast enough to get out of Dodge and maybe hop the sidewalk and so on. But I was thinking something like that, like something that's smaller, like a little rally car looking deal, but also diesel. That would be ideal. And again, I don't know, this also, I guess, depends like how many people you got to look out for. Because if you've got like a family of, 7, maybe the Volkswagen Golf, or another one that I saw that was about that same size and configuration was it was an Audi A3, and it was like a small hatchback diesel looking situation, but it looked pretty cool, man. But I mean, again, these aren't things that I know a whole lot about. I was just like, oh, small diesel, probably goes fast enough, and nice getaway car. Gets like 40 miles to the gallon or this kind of thing. So I was thinking like, yeah, man, like line up a couple gas cans in the back and like get out of Dodge, dude, and you'll be sitting real nice. I also don't know. I wonder how much pain it would be to get like a larger gas tank installed in a vehicle. I don't know, man. These are all good questions. I wonder, maybe I'll look into this. I'll call around, find like a custom shop, and probably get put on a watch list over some of these questions. Like, hey man, how can I get a larger gas tank on this vehicle? Is there a way that you can make this extremely low vis? Like, how can I make this car see-through or something? In any case, anyway, that was just some thoughts on the Doomsday Mobile. If you got some more thoughts, or if you got a Doomsday Mobile, like, go ahead and post it up. Or if you got some ideas, man, like, lay it out there. Like, what do you got and why do you think yours is the heat? So last, let's get to this other whamming question that got brought up. Because I think last time, I've tried to be magnanimous enough. I've kind of gone over this whamming question twice so far over the course of 75 shows. And like the first time I was talking with my boy up in Maine, and I think we took a very magnanimous approach, like a very even-handed, like, yeah, it is what it is. We got to do our best. They got to do their best. Obviously, the girls in our thing, I mean, they're second to none. That goes without saying. But these are not the women that we have to endure day in and day out. Instead, the ones that we have to endure, I mean, to me, increasingly look and sound like the absolute horror that was the representation of communist bloc women in the 80s. I don't know if you remember any of that. Like, the idea was like East German women's weightlifting team. Like, haha, look at them. Oh, they're like, oh, big, jacked, unsavory, difficult to talk to, this kind of thing. But, I mean, take a look around like your average American city. This is what you're talking about, man. Like, healthy at any size. And I think the way we got from here to there, I think I can explain most easily in this way. Again, military story. While I was still in, they had this deal in a major city, and I'm trying not to be too specific here, but there was a deal in this major city where it's like this military appreciation week. And the idea was that you go over here, you got your uniform on, you cruise around town. And for the longest time, just because of the work I was doing, like, I didn't wear a uniform for a very long time. And when I got pimped to go to this thing, some of the guys were like, dude, you got to come to this. I'm like, dude, I am not going to whatever this is. I'm not putting on a uniform and walking around and letting people goggle at me and, treat me like a weirdo. Like, I've had enough of this. All right. Because normally my experience has been like, oh, military guy. Hey, stay off the grass. Don't touch anything. And don't drink my liquor. Like, just stay away. Like, I don't dig that. I didn't roll like that. I was like, I'm not doing this. They're like, dude, you don't understand. You need to do this. Get your stuff dry cleaned and we're going. Come on, let's go. So I'm like, fine, I don't have anything going. I'll go. So a bunch of us went, and dude, it was something special. I can say, specific to this woman discussion, I can say that I understand and empathize completely with how a decent looking woman can become an absolute useless, spoiled brat. Because, man, I would walk down the street, and granted, like, all of us had our, a few different accoutrements on that sort of identify you as like, well, you're not like, Joe Schmo over there that just finished boot camp or whatever. Like, you've got a lot of bells and whistles here. What's happening here? Granted, that too. But, I mean, dude, I would walk down the street. People want to take their picture with you. Women want to borrow your little hat. They want to do all this stuff. You walk into a place and somebody's like, hey, what are you drinking? And you're like, I'll have one of these. And like, shoomp, it's in your hand. And you're like, whoa, like, what do I owe? Dude, you can't pay for anything in here. You want something to eat? And you're like, I don't know. What do they have in here? Like, everything is free. Everything is free. Everything you do is funny. Every joke you tell is hilarious. I'm like, dude, I could actually get used to getting treated like this. Then like the weekends and you go back to getting treated like a schnook. But for a while, like, you could really see how a guy could get out of hand. Like, you'd have to have a lot of personal discipline. If I got treated like that every day of the week, I would be a bad person. I mean, I'm a fairly bad person now. But I mean, if I got treated like that all the time, I would be no good at all. So in that sense, I could see where, like, an attractive woman, if you've got basically carte blanche, and especially now where this healthy at any size thing, like anything you do is just solid gold. If you were a good looking woman, you put a little time and effort into your hygiene, into your health, into your appearance, you can be a real tool and people are going to be cool with it. You walk into a place and say, I want a job here. Oh, okay. You want a job here? I'll fire somebody right now. I'll get you in here. I want to be an executive. You're going to be an executive. How about an astronaut? You are an astronaut. I knew you had astronaut written all over you. And they're going to make it happen for you. But I think that this society that we live in, it has gotten so bad, man. It has gotten so bad with the simping that, I think it really is just, this part I can't explain or understand. Like, how did the simping get this bad? Because in America, man, I mean, a really unsavory woman can still do no wrong. Like, the facts are out there, dude. Like, a woman gets convicted of a crime, she's going to get a much, much, much lesser sentence than any man. Like, I mean, you get convicted of killing somebody, get liquored up and stab somebody, drive over somebody, and it's still going to be that guy's fault. There's some kind of way that, well, probably, you didn't mean to do it. I know it was an accident. Everybody gets carried away. This happens a lot. Like, there's a lot of free pass type stuff that goes on here. And I can't for the life of me figure out, like, is it really just the simping? It's like those dudes in comment sections that are like, hey man, she's all right. Hey man, don't talk to her that way. Like, bro, she's not going to let you smash. Quit it. All right. Quit talking like this. You're not getting any hookups here. So stop it. But I don't know if it's just this kind of thing that's gone on this long. Has it just gone on this long where it's like, bro, just let her vote, bro. Come on, bro. Be cool. That's not, come on. I thought you were a man. Be a man, bro. Let's let him vote. Come on. Like, is she going to let you smash? I very seriously doubt. Like, and imagine like some of those 1800s looking women, like, we would like the vote. And like, okay, here you go. Do I get to smash? No. Come on, man. But the absolute state of it, man. I mean, I don't remember who it was, bro. I'm sorry. I don't remember who it was that asked a question in the chat. They're like, hey, why are women so immature? So for one, I think that it's because they can be. You can afford to be immature. You don't have to be mature. You don't have to act like a grown-up. You can act like a child and you're going to get away with it. So there's, and that's what really rubs me the wrong way. Like when I watch a lot of these movies or when I watch a lot of anything. I mean, how often do you see like, what is Hot Girl doing? Ooh, Hot Girl is studying ways to make artificial limbs more, more attractive compared to whatever, the steel jaw of a hand that you were going to get. Like, she's not doing that. These are lies, dude. This is all lies. I'm helping homeless squirrels. These are lies. You're not doing any of that stuff. Hot girls don't do anything extraordinary because hot girls don't have to. All right? They can walk into a place, say, I want that over there, and you're going through life on the tutorial setting. Again, like my favorite reference, man. Life on tutorial. That's life of a hot girl, man. All you got to do is not get fat. And yet, they'll screw it up. But as to why they, so many of them can be so immature, I honestly think, man, that it is because they have to be able, I mean, in an evolutionary sense, like they have to be able to hold on to these two conflicting beliefs at once. Because I think if you kind of hearken back in an evolutionary sense, like what kind of behaviors did you see? Like you would have tribal warfare, you have a raiding tribe, somebody wins, somebody loses. And if you lose, then that's all these dudes getting slaughtered. And these women are going to have to come to terms with like, yeah, you used to be part of this tribe. Well, guess what? Guess what's happening now? Now you're part of this club over here. So you could be cool with it and you'll get to stay alive. Maybe you have some kids, you get a nice teepee out of the deal. Or you can be a pain, you can be difficult and pushy and treacherous, and then you'll just get smoked. Maybe you get left somewhere to starve to death. Maybe you just get to work the fields till you fall down dead. Is that what you want? You want that? No, nobody wants that. So in an evolutionary sense, it behooves a woman to be able to switch their brains like that like, well, these guys won, so I'm on team new tribe now, And as to whether that sticks for a long time, I mean, I would say apparently it does, Apparently it does. But you've also got a lot of these pressures, and it's, I guess, over the next few generations, if I was going to be alive that long, which hopefully I will not, it would be interesting to see how things play out in terms of what has all of this done, like divorce court, like how has this affected women's behavior? Because, I mean, as it is, like I talked about a few episodes back, that like a woman really can just say and do anything. And like, yeah, I just decided I'm tired of him. I want a new guy. And the state is going to be right there to say like, yeah, you heard her. She's tired of you. Get your stuff. Get out of here. And make sure you keep paying. Like, wait, what? So it almost seems like it could get to where it's worse, because it would really foster that attitude. And a woman who behaves that way, a woman who behaves reasonably, she's going to be married, stay married, probably have 2, 3, ideally 4 kids, right? But a woman who does this other kind of a thing, I don't know, maybe it balances out. Because you would think like a woman who behaves this other kind of way, where they're just really in it for themselves, maybe they have 2, 3 kids, then they get divorced, they hook up with some other guy, maybe that guy expects a kid or 2. But what's going to be the quality of those kids? I think the traits that are going to get passed on to them are going to be like very, very high time preference. Just go have fun. So probably it would take a generation or so to demonstrate those effects, but probably that kind of a mindset will burn itself out. I would be inclined to think, which maybe, maybe that's what we're seeing now, because you do see, I think, with a lot of younger women, like some of these girls that I talked to on this trip, like the waitresses, girls at workplaces, I'm not going to lie, I will say I was impressed. I was happy to see it. I was happy to be there. A lot of this stuff you see with like boomer women, good Lord almighty, women from my generation, unbelievable, like incredibly hefty and incredibly ready to demand that you put their stuff in the overhead. And I, in turn, am incredibly ready to say, no, I am helping you. I'm cheering you on from a position of equality. Best of luck. Right? So with that, I think that's probably as good a place as any to wrap it up. And next time, man, I think there was some talk about there was some talk in the chat about the OKC bombing, about the Oklahoma City bombing. And I haven't read a ton about that. I have seen a little bit, but not enough to know like the in-depth details and form a halfway informed opinion. I do know that guy got dead real quick, but I think that might be a cool topic to do like a semi-deep dive on. So yeah, I think maybe next time then OKC bombing, and we'll see what shakes loose in terms of coming up with a good and respectable conspiracy theory. But until next time, man, you know where you can find this if you found it already. It's available pretty much at this point still, surprisingly, wherever dodgy content is purveyed. And you can find me on Telegram at The Abuse Hour, along with accompanying chat. Me on Instagram, I'm not going to put that out on here. Maybe I hit people up onesie-twosie. If you've seen me, maybe you figured it out already anyway. Yeah, until next time, then, you keep your eyes on the horizon, keep your neck out of the noose. And I have been Coffee. These are my takes.